Hi, this is Kirk, bariatric carnivore. Well, if you're like about 23% or so of the average person, you've already quit your New Year's resolution. Your goal was to lose weight, eat less, move more. You've already quit. About a quarter of you guys are going to quit before the first month, and almost everybody quits before the end of the second month. So don't feel alone. Basically, you set an impossible goal when you think about it. If your goal was to eat less, move more, and to lose weight, that's called starvation. That's a technical term for it. And that is not a sustainable diet. It works on some show like The Biggest Loser for a period of time when you're on TV, you've got a cash prize, and that's all you do for a living. But life gets in the way for everybody else. We forget, we have a moment of weakness, we break we eat that donut without even thinking about it, and boom, well, I failed, so therefore I'm going to quit. And most people do, because that's just the way we are. I mean, it's a system set up for failure when you really think about it. People just can't. Let's look at it another way. Let's say, for instance, somebody said, hey, I have got a chef from a 5-star Michelin restaurant coming to my house. So I want you to come over for dinner on Tuesday, and I want you to bring your best appetite. Now, what would you do in order to make sure that your appetite was maximized for that big meal? Well, you would eat less and move more. Can you see why that dietary advice that your doctor is giving you is just not going to work? This is how you make yourself hungry. That's why it's such a stupid way of losing weight. What you really need to do, in my humble opinion, is to shift over not the way you eat, but what you eat. And it's quite as simple as elimination of processed food and carbs. When you eliminate processed food, you're eliminating vegetable oils. When you eliminate carbs, you're lowering your body's insulin response, and you're setting yourself up for long-term success. So let's talk about, okay, if you're going to really want to lose weight and make a commitment to a lifestyle change, what have you got to do? Well, first of all, before you start, let's go ahead and talk about what you really want to measure. Because frankly, knowledge is power. And if I'm going to make a lifestyle change, and I am really frankly trying to convince you that a carnivore diet is not a way of losing weight. Eating low carb is not just about a short-term diet fix. It's a different way of eating that you do for the rest of your life to improve your health. And I think if you follow these basic guidelines, you're setting yourself up for long-term success. So number one is knowledge. And frankly, I mean, it's not just me. There's a ton of people out there who've got great YouTube videos on how powerful low carb is for improving overall health. It changes your metabolic health from being a pre-diabetic, like 90% of Americans. Look, 88% to 92% of all Americans are metabolically unhealthy, which means they've got a big waist, they've got high triglycerides, they've got low HDL, they've got high fasting blood sugars, their insulin levels are through the roof. That's most people. And frankly, if you're watching this video, there's about a 90% chance you're one of those people that are metabolically unhealthy. And if you do not want to be one of those people, because this is what, look at the top causes of death. Top causes of death are heart disease, cancer, and medical mistakes. Frankly, you want to get out of the medical system. You want to go low carb because it's all the indications are that your cancer cells are going to feed off of a high glucose level, and heart attacks are caused by inflammation of the artery walls, and you want to get rid of that inflammation. So how do you do it? Low carb is proven time and time again to be the best anti-inflammatory diet out there. It's got a ton of ancillary benefits, like the aches and pains are going to go away. It's a lot of people have had serious removal of autoimmune diseases, arthritis, etc. I mean, it's an incredibly powerful therapeutic agent, but it's not something you just do temporarily. It's a change in lifestyle. And I'm trying to set you up for success so that you're going to be able to do this for the long haul, because you're going to be able to track progress and you're going to be able to see that what you're doing isn't just a temporary fix. This is actually changing your overall metabolic health. So how do we do this? Number one, for at least the first few months, get a scale, weigh yourself, figure out how much you weigh. And after about 3 months, I didn't care about my weight anymore because I could see the changes. But initially, you're going to need some positive feedback, and you're going to lose a lot of weight pretty quickly. And people will say, "Oh, it's just water weight." Well, no, it's not completely just water weight. It's inflammation leaving your body. So it's a good thing. When you start when you switch to a low-carb diet, you're going to create your body is not going to be so inflamed. It's not going to need that fluid. It's going to get rid of it. So you're going to lose a lot of weight right off the bat, which is an encouragement to a lot of folks. Get a tape measure and measure your waist circumference. This is it's not the best marker, but it's a cheap marker of how much visceral fat. That's fat that's inside your body, wrapped around your organs. This is the most dangerous type of fat that you've got on you. And you can figure it out if you want. If you've got the money and you want to get an in-depth MRI, they can check it out and show you exactly how much visceral fat you've got wrapped around your organs. But a proxy marker is just doing your waist circumference. Hopefully at some point your goal is to get below at least a 40 if you're a man, 36 for a female. And be hard on yourself. I mean, don't try to suck in the gut when you're doing this, but just measure around your waist. Get some basic blood work done. And you don't need your doctor's permission for this. I mean, you go Google blood work on my own without my doctor. You don't even need to get your insurance company in it, because this can be less than $100. And basic blood work that you want to check is, number one, fasting insulin level. It's because we're going to check these again in a few months just to see what type of progress you're making. So get a fasting insulin level. Don't worry about the levels right now. Just these are baselines. Your fasting glucose level, how much your blood sugar you've got. A C-reactive protein. You want to see what your inflammation level is at this moment. Now, I almost hesitate to recommend this, but you can get a lipid panel if you'd like. Now, most people, the reason why I don't usually recommend that when people are starting off is because, look, after a few months of carnivore, your cholesterol level may shoot up, and people are so freaked out about cholesterol that they may get discouraged by it. But I don't care about the total cholesterol levels. When I get a lipid panel, what I'm looking at is the triglyceride level, which is an inflammatory marker, and HDL, the so-called good cholesterol. And I want those two levels to be as close to, if I divide triglycerides by HDL, it should be equal to 1 if you're doing good. But look, don't worry about what the results are right now, because you're starting off, you're coming off a standard American diet, 90% chance that you're metabolically unhealthy. You're unhealthy, you're fat, you're not doing well, you're not feeling perfect. So let's get some baseline numbers and figure that out. You may also want to consider getting a calcium heart scan. Most people live in major metropolitan areas where there's heart hospitals set for about $50, certainly under 100. They'll do a calcium heart scan. Now, this is baseline stuff. I mean, I will warn you. This happened to me. I got my calcium heart scan done when I started doing low carb, and it was over 1,000. What that meant was 7 years ago, after eating years of the standard American diet, I had developed the beginnings of heart disease. There were signs that my body was getting calcium in the arteries, that there was damage being done. There had been inflammation. What a calcium is basically, it's a hard deposit, that there was a plaque on the coronary artery walls. and it's there. Now, it's not going to dissolve. It's not going to go away. The question is it going to get worse? And we're going to be checking this over years, not over weeks or months. But it's a good baseline test. When you're starting off, frankly, you may see an increase in your coronary calcium score after you've switched to keto and you get a new one of these in a couple of years. Because it doesn't measure soft plaques. Those are the dangerous ones. A soft plaque is a break in your artery wall, because what happens over years when you're eating a standard American diet, you get inflamed, and that creates stresses on your artery walls, and sometimes they crack, and what they do to fill it in is they create basically like pus pockets with calcium and cholesterol in them and other stuff. And when they heal, it leaves a calcium scar as kind of a patchwork over it. It means you had it. But the question is it getting worse? And that's what you're going to be testing for over the next couple of years, is to be checking that calcium score to see if it's going up by more than 5% in any given year. And one of the cool things about me since I've gone carnivore, low carb, is it's only gone up about 1% over the last 7 years, which is fantastic for a guy as old as I am. To not see any progression in calcium scores is great. Now, the gold standard for really checking to see how good your artery health is called a CIMT. That is where they measure the thickness and of your carotid arteries and how much plaque there is in there. And they can tell a lot about your biological age by looking at that CIMT score. The problem is not every city has a place where you can get it done, and it's a rather expensive little test. So not everybody's going to be able to get that done. But if you can get one and you got the money and you wanted to do it, it's a great baseline test. And the cool thing about it is you can get those done quite a bit because it uses a Doppler effect. It doesn't use radiation, so you can get those done all the time. It's no big deal. If you want to keep checking to see if you're making more quick progress. And the thing I love about CIMTs is those tests for soft plaques, and those are the dangerous ones. I mean, you don't want a soft plaque. A soft plaque is the thing that when those break open and they go to your heart or your brain, you have a heart attack or a stroke. The number one symptom that you've got a problem is you die. That's the problem with those things. So, it's really cool if you can get one, but don't fret it if you can't. I will also warn you, if you get one done at one of the big heart hospitals where, they've got a cardiologist waiting for somebody to have a score over 10, they want to get you signed up. Oh my gosh, you've got heart disease because you've got some hard plaques in your arteries, and they will tell you need to go get a stress test. Well, the thing I'm going to tell you about a stress test is they're an expensive procedure that tells you basically nothing. They tell you that it's got a 50% chance that it's going to be a false positive or a false negative. That's what happened to Tim Russert. Tim Russert, had a calcium heart scan, showed that he had plaques, goes over, does the stress test like, the doctor told him to. He got passed with flying colors, died 2 months later of a massive heart attack. That's kind of the problem with that test. It doesn't do enough. And if you have a false positive where you've got serious heart disease, then they put you in, they give you these other tests that may or may not be all that effective either, and they're very expensive and intrusive. The only reason why I'm telling you to get a calcium heart scan is so you can, in a couple of years, be able to go and get a follow-up one and be able to look at it and see if you're getting any progression. You don't want progress. That's the big thing about it, is you don't want it to get worse. And if you see it over the long haul where it's not getting worse, that's what you want. That's kind of the gold standard. That's the only reason why I suggest you get one, is just to see where you are. That's the initial blood work, is not to scare you into submission. It is to help you figure out if this diet is actually working for you. So you've done this, you've got your initial blood work. Next step is to clear out the cabinets of all the junk. I mean, really, I know it bugs people to do it, but throw away junk food. Just throw it all away. You don't need it. You're going to be eating very low carb for the next few months, because you want to give this thing, at least any type of lifestyle change, you want to really give 3 months to see if it works. And what's really cool about, if you switch to carnivore, basically beef, butter, bacon, and eggs for 3 months, that's all you're eating. It's going to be really easy to know what to throw away. If it ain't beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, it goes in the trash can. And if that's all you're focused on for the first few months, it's fairly easy to stick to it, because it just eliminates choices, and it makes meal prep so much faster, because you're only throwing things on the skillet or on the grill to cook up and eat, and you're done. So give it a shot for a few months. Make note of your progress. What's going on with your weight, what's going on with your waist circumference, and also make little notes as to what aches and pains are going away. This is what's really fascinating. You're probably under assault. If you're a typical American and you've got metabolic issues, you've probably got pains that you aren't even aware of yet until they go away. You're going to wake up in the morning and all of a sudden that ankle or that knee doesn't crack and cause pain when I go plodding off to the bathroom. You're able to jump out of bed with a little bit more clear head, and make note of it, because if you slip off the wagon and you start eating a standard American diet again, you're going to start seeing these pains come back. And this ought to be an indicator that this is a problem, because you hopefully, if you do this, you're not trying to do it to lose weight, in a couple of months to fit into a special dress, or I'm not trying to get people in swimsuit shape. I'm trying to help them change their lifestyle for life, to get themselves healthier. And when you look at these notes and you look at, in 3 months after eating pure carnivore, just beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, you are going to notice something pretty impressive. And then you go get your blood work done again, and you're going to see your A1C dropping. You're going to see your triglycerides dropping. You're going to see your HDL go up. You're going to see your blood glucose dropping. You're going to see the level of inflammation with the C-reactive protein down. And when you take a look at those numbers, and you look at the scale, and you look at your waist shrinking after 3 months, that hopefully will be motivation to take you through the rest of the year. When you stick with this for 3 months, then maybe you want to start adding things back in. The first one you might want to try to test is dairy, particularly cheese and heavy cream. Don't use skim milk. Skim milk is what you use to fatten pigs. Don't do skim milk. But if you want to try heavy cream again in your coffee or whatever, pay attention to what happens in the next 2 weeks. It sometimes takes about 2 weeks for you to start to see signs of inflammation pop back up. Usually where it will manifest is dandruff, and if you've got psoriasis or itchy skin, that may return. If that's the case, you may realize pretty quickly, you know what, there's something in milk that is bugging my skin and it's causing some inflammation and some problems. And then you got to make a decision. Do I really want to, can I live with the dandruff, or do I want, and only wear light colored clothes for the rest of my life? Or do I want to get rid of it, which means I have to eliminate the dairy? Now, during your initial carnivore phase, particularly the first few weeks, you're going to go through some cravings. If you are eating a standard American diet, if you're eating highly processed food, that food is designed to be addictive. And it is going to be a bit of a struggle at first to get that out of your system. I'm sorry, there's nothing anybody can do about it. You've been eating it. Now you're trying to overcome an addiction that has been inflicted upon you by a bunch of greedy corporate bastards. So if you want to get rid of that, you're going to have to just do like people do when they quit smoking or quit drinking. You're going to have to muscle through it for the first week or so. After you get through with it, you'll be fine. But just getting rid of that initial craving is tough. I admit it. It is going to be tough. This is where you're going to use your willpower. The nice thing about doing carnivore is, and we've eliminated the only things you're eating are those 4 things. It simplifies your choices. And if you don't have it in the house, it's going to make it easier for you to just say no, because frankly, the nice thing about doing it in the middle of winter is, who wants to go out in the cold to go get a cracker? So push all that stuff away. You're only eating those 4 things. Realize that, the cravings are temporary. Go for a short walk in the brisk cold, and you're going to get over that hump. Have some boiled eggs ready. Have some cooked bacon ready to help you get over those cravings. But once you get past those craving phrases, you're going to start noticing some changes. And by the way, don't try to starve yourself. Eat as much as you want of those 4 things for the first month. Don't try to exercise, but if you feel like, you've got more energy and you're feeling more active, go for a walk and stuff like that. After you've been doing this about a month, maybe start adding in some resistance training. Use bands, push-ups, whatever. If you're starting to feel better, utilize it. I'm not telling you not to exercise. Exercise is a good thing, but it's not going to help you lose weight. You're not going to be able to burn calories. You're not going to be able to earn a donut by jumping on a treadmill. That's the nonsense. The food industry, Coca-Cola, and all those other guys have been pushing down your throats for a real long time. It ain't calories in, calories out that's going to result in any real long-term changes. Changing the diet. And after 3 months, then you can start trying to add in things. But add them in one at a time. Give yourself a week. See how your body reacts to it. And you may find out that certain things that you thought were okay may cause you real problems. I had no idea spinach caused me real problems until after I added it in after being carnivore for a little while. We had some friends over for dinner. They wanted a spinach salad. I made them one. And I felt hungover the next day. Now, what about alcohol and coffee? And that's kind of a big thing for a lot of folks. I'm going to really recommend you get rid of the alcohol, because the way your body processes alcohol, it doesn't have any carbs. So, if you're drinking a pure distilled spirit, if you're drinking vodka, bourbon, whiskey, something like that, there's no carbs, but alcohol is like a food group in and of itself. Your liver, it's a toxin to your liver. Your liver is going to try to get rid of that first. You'll never get rid of the fatty liver and the other fats where your body is overwhelmed trying to process the alcohol. So if you can eliminate the alcohol, eliminate it. Coffee, that's always a gray area when it comes to carnivore way of eating. Some people drink coffee, some people don't. I think it's a bridge too far for a lot of folks. If you've been drinking coffee regularly and it freaks you out, don't let that be a stop action. Go ahead and eliminate the foods. Drink your coffee black or as lightly sweetened as you possibly can, preferably black, because look, when you're starting off, sweet stuff has a tendency to be a trigger. It makes you want to have other sweet stuff. So probably better to just choke it out, drink some black coffee, just to help you with your own brain fog during the transition period. After a couple of months, you may decide, okay, I'm going to try it and get rid of that stuff. Maybe you don't, but don't fight it. It's not worth fighting over. The big thing is getting rid of the processed food cravings, and that's a tough enough battle for a few months. And then see where you are. Get another round of blood work. It's going to be less than $100, and you're going to see major improvement. Take a look at what your scale measurements are. You're going to have lost a lot of inflammatory weight. You're going to lose some fat, because when you're going to take that tape measure and you go around your belly, you're going to be down 1 inch or 2, which means all that visceral fat has gone away. That's the first stuff that goes. The stuff that is causing the most health hazards to you is going to go away first. And hopefully that's the type of motivation you're going to need to be able to stick with this for the long haul, because you will have objective information that will show you that you are making positive health changes. This is Kirk, the Bariatric Carnivore. If you've been doing, keto carnivore for a while, can you do me a favor? Drop a comment below. Give some encouragement to people that this is not just a way to lose weight, but it's a way of changing your health and your lifestyle, and what positive things have happened to you. And maybe encourage some people to give this thing a try. 3 months out of 2024, and you start to see significant health improvements, this could be the best year of your friggin' life. I mean, I started this journey when I was 50 years old. I weighed over 300 pounds, and frankly, I was going blind. Unless I got shots in my eyeball every single day for macular degeneration, I was going to go blind. Thankfully, I found low carb and changed my metabolic health. And at 60, I'm stronger than I was back when I was 40. And probably, I do more pull-ups than I did when I was 19 in the Army. I'm stronger and healthier now than I may have been when I was 19, 30, 40s, 50s. It's there for the taking. This could be the year that you begin that journey of good health, and I really hope you take the opportunity to give it a shot. What's 3 months out of your life? At a minimum, you're going to lose weight and you're going to look better in a bathing suit when the weather gets warmer. At best, you will have started a new chapter of your life of good health where you can pull yourself out of the medical system. This is Kirk, the Bariatric Carnivore. I try to put out a couple messages each week. I hope that you hit the like and subscribe button, join this channel, leave comments below. I will talk to you again soon.